Do you think you can be killed by a plant? Let's check it out. Which of these two flowers is poisonous? Which tree do you think is dangerous? Which of these berries you'd better not eat? There is a variety of extremely dangerous plants in the world. For example, once you touch this burdock leaf, your body starts a fatal countdown.
We used to think that herbs heal, flowers delight the eye, and trees bear delicious fruit. However, that's not always the case. What poisonous plants can be easily confused with the normal ones? Just look at these mouth-watering apples. In fact, if you take a bite of this fruit, it will send you into the sleeping death, just like Snow White. This is the manchineel tree. According to the Guinness World Records, the manchineel tree is in fact the most dangerous tree in the world. As the old saying goes, even its shadow may be lethal. In 1733, there was even a royal decree issued ordering the destruction of all poisonous trees on the island of Puerto Rico. But it's not so easy to deal with them. All parts of the tree contain strong toxins, and some of them are still unidentified. Its bark secretes milky white sap, which contains skin irritants.
Our moms are so fond of taking such pictures by the trees, but after taking a picture with this one, she'll develop severe allergic dermatitis on her hands. Being under that tree when it rains will make your skin break out into blisters from contact with this liquid. The sap of this plant damages even the paint on cars. Now imagine what will happen to your skin. But when it was decided to burn the trees, it turned out that if the smoke gets in your eyes, you'll go blind. Therefore, often the tree has a red ribbon tied around it and also carries the warning sign. But its fruit can pose a real danger too. They are similar in appearance to an apple, but more flattened.
Once you swallow this fruit, it will first seem to have a sweet, pleasant taste, but these sensations will be later replaced with the pepper taste, gradually developing into a burning, and then your throat will swell. The symptoms will continue to get worse, and you will have difficulty swallowing solid food because of the excruciating pain. But if you had a little bite, there's still a way to be saved. For this, drink a lot of milk to ease the pain. In 8 hours, all the pain sensations will gradually reduce. Another wolf in sheep's clothing is the pong-pong tree that resembles a green mango. If the Cerbera odolum fruit kernel that contains the cerberin steroid enters your body, it blocks the passage of calcium ions into your cardiac muscle, which causes your heartbeat to slow down gradually until it stops completely. Death follows 3 hours later. It's one of the deadliest poisons on Earth.
And it's virtually unknown to Western physicians. But surprisingly, you can find recipes for how to commit suicide using it. It's often grinded and mixed with spices. If you were unlucky enough to eat such a spice accidentally, then dilute a spoonful of mustard in a glass of boiled water and drink it. It'll cause vomiting, and maybe you'll be saved if you do it right after you ate the fruit.
And what poisonous plants are exploited by people? The only thing that's more dangerous than poisonous plants is a person who knows how to use them. For example, the castor bean that is widespread throughout tropical and subtropical regions and acts as a laxative. A laxative so powerful it is referred to as a potential terrorist weapon for committing mass murder. When injected, it causes abdominal pain, dehydration, and destroys the major internal organs. But if you happen to swallow it, then don't do anything. It will make you throw up, which in many cases removes the poison.
People also use the sandbox tree as a weapon. It can be identified by its smooth brown bark covered in many dark pointed spines. It produces caustic sap similar to a drain cleaner. Fishermen are said to use the caustic sap from this tree to poison fish, and the indigenous tribes use the sap to produce poisoned arrows. The sandbox tree's seed capsules are fruit about the size of a fist, and when ripe, they burst open with such force that they usually strike everyone who stands next to them.
and one single seed eaten will cause a burning in your throat, a headache, and, pardon my French, vomiting and diarrhea. 2 seeds will cause hallucinations. If you happen to suffer from this tree, eat some white boiled rice, which is the fastest and most efficient way to eliminate diarrhea. But sometimes people consume poisonous plants intentionally, as is the case with deadly nightshade, or as it's also called, belladonna. Deadly nightshade berries pose the greatest danger to children, as they are attractive and are deceptively sweet at first bite. Yet just 2 berries can kill a child who eats them, and it takes only 10 or 20 to kill an adult. Consuming a single leaf can cause loss of consciousness or even going into a coma. Symptoms of deadly nightshade poisoning include delusions and hallucinations. If medical aid is far off and you were suddenly poisoned with the nightshade, well, I can only wish you good luck.
And it's not the only plant that has a narcotic effect. What plants can drive you crazy? Of course, first and foremost, it's datura, namely Jimson weed. Its flowers are known as devil's trumpets. Jimson weed is used to create scopolamine, the South American zombie drug. It is used on people to make unsuspecting victims fully obey all the demands. But some people intentionally eat datura to get high. This trip is more like schizophrenia or dementia. Terrifying, multi-layered fantasies filled with bizarre, meaningless events as in the Inception movie in production of David Lynch. The only thing that could be worse is using brugmansia, also known as devil's breath. All parts of brugmansia are poisonous, especially its seeds and leaves. Brugmansia causes a deep trance with fairly strong and unpleasant effects, nauseating consequences, and sometimes temporary insanity. For example, one young man amputated his own genitals and tongue after drinking only 1 cup of brugmansia tea. There are rumors that brugmansia is used in Colombia to turn tourists into unsuspecting zombies and get money out of them. Be aware that if you are given a drug plant, try to at least take a cold shower or put some cold water on your face to wake up a bit, and try not to pass out in any way. Ask somebody to stay with you for you not to find a way to cause trouble or cut off anything. But what plant can make you kill yourself? Jimpy Jimpy. Doesn't sound that terrifying, does it? Sounds like a name for the 5th Teletubby. It looks like a shrub with large heart-shaped leaves pretending to be sort of harmless burdock. If you look closer, you can find that they have a lot of white hairy filaments on them, which are the main source of pain. The second that you touch it, you'll feel like being burned with hot acid and electrocuted at the same time. One ex-serviceman, Cyril Bromley, fell into one of the plants during the Second World War. He ended up strapped to a hospital bed. Bromley also told a story of an officer who unknowingly used a leaf as toilet paper. The officer recounted that for 2 or 3 days, the pain was almost unbearable. He couldn't work or sleep. The stinging persisted for 2 years and recurred every time he had a cold shower. The officer said he didn't experience anything that could rival it because that pain is 10 times worse than any burn. Unable to endure that torment, the officer ended up shooting himself. If you got stung by this plant, you can't just pull the needles out with tweezers. They're too thin and too tight. One of the best solutions is to pull them all out with hot wax. But you have to be careful. If at least one of the hundreds of needles in your skin breaks off, you'll be in pain for many years. At the beginning of the video, I asked you to guess which plants are poisonous and which are safe. Now I'll tell you the correct answer. These Ageratum houstonianum blue horizon flowers, as well as these Brunfelsia flowers, and these beautiful oleander and robinia trees, and the common snowberry, along with the wolfsbane, sure as hell must not be eaten. All these plants are poisonous. Keep your eyes open. Danger lurks in places you wouldn't even expect.